I am 104 years old, and I am holding the biggest mistake of my life. It's a travel journal, small, leather-bound, the kind you'd find in one of those little bookshops that don't exist anymore. The spine has never been cracked, not once. I bought this thing nearly 80 years ago, and every single page is blank. You hear that? Blank. Not a word, not a sketch, not even my name on the inside cover. Now, if I could go back to 25, I wouldn't change my career. I wouldn't invest in something clever. I wouldn't chase some man or run from one either. I'd do something much, much harder. I'd stop waiting for permission to live my own life. Let me tell you how I got here. I was 25 years old when I walked into a bookshop on a Saturday afternoon. The place smelled like fresh paper and ink, and there was dust floating in the sunlight through the window. I picked up this journal and I held it in my hands, and I felt something. I felt possibility. I told myself I was going to fill every page. I was going to travel. I was going to see oceans I'd only read about. I was going to write down what the air tasted like in countries I couldn't even point to on a map. And then I whispered the most dangerous words I have ever spoken. Once things settle down, things never settled down. They just piled up. I was raised on a lie, a beautiful poisonous lie that sounded like virtue. Good women put themselves last. Your turn will come. Be patient. Be useful. Be quiet. And I believed it. Oh, I believed it like gospel. So I ironed shirts at 5 in the morning. I sat silent through decisions my husband made about our money, our home, our future. When my friend Clara asked me to go to Portugal with her, I said maybe later. When I wanted to take a painting class, I said maybe later. When I dreamed about seeing the northern lights, I said maybe later, maybe later, maybe later, maybe later. That phrase became my entire biography. And you want to know the worst part? Nobody thanked me. Not really. There were polite smiles, nods, the occasional, I don't know what we'd do without you. But nobody ever sat me down and said, we see what you gave up. Because to them, I wasn't giving anything up. I was just doing what women like me were supposed to do. I thought if I gave enough, someone would eventually hand me my life back. No one did. No one even knew they were holding it. Now here is the part I need you to hear, because this is where I lost everything, and I didn't even know it was happening. I was 68 years old. My husband Richard had been gone 2 years. Heart attack. Quick. He didn't suffer, they told me, like that was supposed to fix something. My children were grown, scattered across the country. They called on birthdays, sometimes. I was moving out of the house into a smaller apartment, a place with 1 bedroom and thin walls, and a hallway that smelled like other people's cooking. I was packing up 43 years of a life in cardboard boxes. The kitchen had that ugly fluorescent light buzzing overhead, the kind that makes everything look tired. There was half-cold coffee on the counter, tape guns, newspaper for wrapping dishes I would never use again. And at the bottom of a box I hadn't opened in decades, there it was, the journal. I pulled it out and I stood there in that kitchen, and the buzzing of that light was the only sound in the world. I opened it. The pages were so white, so perfectly white, like they were waiting, like they had been waiting this whole time. I sat down at the kitchen table, and I put my hands flat on those blank pages, and they were trembling. I tried to think of one thing, just one thing I had done in 43 years, purely for myself, not for Richard, not for the children, not for the church or the neighbors or the family name, just for me. I couldn't think of a single thing, not one. The refrigerator hummed, the clock in the hallway ticked, and I sat in that silence, and I felt something hollow open up inside my chest, something so deep I couldn't find the bottom of it. You know what I did? I closed the journal, put it back in the box, and I whispered it again, maybe later. That is the cruelest moment of my life. Not because someone hurt me, because I had the chance right there in my hands, and I repeated the same lie I'd been telling myself since I was 25 years old. That was 36 years ago. Now I sit in a room in a place where they bring me pudding I don't eat and put fake flowers on my nightstand. The journal sits beside me on the side table. The leather still smells faintly new. Isn't that something? 80 years and it still smells like potential, like a promise nobody kept. My children love me. I know they do. In that faraway, dutiful way. They call, they send cards, but not one of them knows what I gave up. Not one of them could name a single dream I buried so they could chase theirs. And why would they? I never told them. I never told anyone. I just smiled and said, "I'm fine. Don't worry about me." I skipped my entire life so that other people could have theirs. And nobody remembers the sacrifices. Nobody. But I still feel every single one of them sitting on my chest when I try to sleep at night. Now I want to talk to you. Yes, you. Right now. You have your own blank journal somewhere. Maybe it's not leather. Maybe it's a phone call you keep almost making. A conversation you keep rehearsing in the shower but never having. A plane ticket you keep looking at and closing the tab. A life you keep sketching in your head but never starting. And you're telling yourself you're being selfless. You're being responsible. You're being good. Stop it. Stop calling it selfless. It's fear. I know exactly what it is because I wore that mask for 80 years, and it fit so perfectly that I forgot I was wearing it. No one is coming to hand you your life. No one is going to tap you on the shoulder and say, "Your turn now, sweetheart." That moment does not exist. I waited for it for a century, and it never came. So write the first page. Not tomorrow, not when things settle down. Today, right now. Say the thing, book the trip, Start the project. Leave the situation that's killing you slowly. I am 104 years old, and I am giving you what nobody ever gave me, permission. Now don't you dare waste it on maybe later. If this satisfies something inside you, like the video, subscribe this channel, and comment below. Say it out loud. Make it real. Because silence is just another way of saying maybe later.